Many birds have spent the winter in the Solent area as it offers them an ideal environment. But now, as the cold months are over, many of them are starting to migrate. A local initiative is raising awareness of the animals as they need to be fit for their long flight. Nicole Ris has more.
It'll be a long way for these Brent geese and other birds who spent their winter in the Solent region and are now starting their migration.
They'll be heading back to the Arctic, to Russia and to Siberia, which is where that they will breed and have their young. The other ones that we've seen is the black-tailed godwit. That one will also, a lot of them have already gone actually, and they'll be heading up to the Arctic as well. Because up in the Arctic, there's long hours of daylight and a lot of insects there, so it's the best place for them to breed and to have their young.
To be prepared for the long journey and keep fit over the winter, the birds need to feed properly. And to make sure that they are not being disturbed whilst feeding, Birdaware Solent have been raising awareness of the animals over the past few months.
If you imagine, it's quite difficult in the winter living outdoors. It's quite hard work, and the birds need a certain amount of calories just to get through the day. So what they do is they live by the rhythm of the tide, and at low tide they'll be feeding in the mud like you will have seen this morning, and at high tide, when the mud is all covered over again, they'll move on to dry places of land close by where they need to rest. So all that time when they're feeding and all that time when they're resting is so important for them. They have to feed almost continuously just to get enough calories to go through the day. So when they get disturbed, they lose feeding time. Also, if they actually fly away, then they're going to waste all those calories that they've spent all that time feeding for. So that's why it's so important that we give them the space that they need to feed and to rest, because they obviously need to get through the winter, stay healthy, then they need to do their migration, but when they arrive in the Arctic, they need to be fit and healthy and ready to breed. So if they arrive there in poor health, they may not be able to breed, and in the future we could see a decline of these species, of these populations. Primarily what we're trying to do is raise awareness and get people to just see the birds initially. A lot of people don't see that they're there, so we do have a really good positive response from a lot of people who never noticed the birds and they're just really excited to see them. But when people go too close, or if their dogs go too close, what you might see happen is that more and more of the birds start putting their heads up and looking at you, and that's the first sign that you're going too close. And if you really do go too close, what you'll see is they'll either swim away or they'll fly away.
Birdaware Solent is a partnership formed by local authorities and conservation bodies. They are funded by developer contributions from house builders, and with more houses being built in the region in the future, it's likely that there'll be an increase in people visiting the coast, so the birds will need more protection.
There's around 64,000 houses that we need to build along the Solent within about 5.5 kilometres of the coast. So the idea is that the partnership does a number of things, including employing a team of rangers. It's funded generally by the house builders themselves, so every time they build a home within that 5.5 kilometre zone, they have the option of making a contribution towards the Solent project to mitigate the effects of the houses they're building. The main element is the ranger team, and that will increase in size as we get more houses built. We also have to monitor to make sure that it's effective. We will have some small-scale interventions along the coastline, so it might be planting hedges to limit access to the most sensitive areas, or it might be signage. We've got communications and education initiatives as well, and also events that we will get involved in. So there's a number of different things that we're doing in terms of really about educating and informing people to encourage them to behave in a way which has the least impact on the birds.
Nicole Ris, for That's Solent.